Welcome to another episode of Life and Whiskey. As always, I'm Jordan, and today we're going to look at Pine Bluffs Distilling in Pine Bluffs, Wyoming. Now, we've already looked at the straight bourbon whiskey, and I want to point out that this bottling, really nice bottling, all of the whiskeys that they have with this type of bottle and label, highly encourage you to pick them up if you get a chance. Most of them are some sort of straight whiskey, so they're aged a minimum of 2 years. A lot of nice color and flavor coming out of this bourbon, so I expected that to come out of here, and I bought this kind of on a whim. So this is their single malt whiskey. It's only aged for a minimum of 6 months, so I'm guessing it says at least 6 months. It's probably almost no more than 6 months. There might be a seventh month in there somewhere, but having tried it, I have to say it needs some age, and it had some crazy stuff going on. So we'll bust into it here in a second. We'll find out if what I found before is what I'm still finding in there, and if so, buckle yourself up, because there's some stuff in there that is not the greatest. However, I bought this and reviewed their bourbon already, and this is excellent. So I highly encourage you pick this up. This was kind of what I was hoping for and expecting, and I was not expecting what I got out of that. But again, you know, who knows what the story is as far as why it's so young and what the plan is for that. I did pick that up for let me go over here. $27.99 here locally. So I saw this on the shelf and I thought, well, I just gotta pick it up. The bourbon was great. And I had high hopes for it. I really wanted to try and do more reviews of Wyoming-based distilleries, just to kind of put them out there, because we do have some really good whiskey coming out of Wyoming. And Backwards Distilling in Casper, if you get a chance to check them out, I highly encourage it. Now, I have not been able to find their whiskey here locally. I take that back. The liquor store that had this stuff did have one variety of their whiskey. I think it was their bourbon. It was like $45 though. So, having already bought a couple of bottles, I passed on that one for now. I'll probably go back and pick it up. But that's the only store in town that I've been able to find their whiskey, which is strange because their rum and their vodka and their gin you can pick up at any of the other stores here in town. So anyways, it's not about them, it's about these guys. So Pine Bluffs Distilling, aged 6 months, single malt whiskey, 40% ABV, 80 proof. This is batch number 1, bottle number 107. Yeah. Let's see what it goes, or how it goes this time, because the other day when I tried it, it had some notes in there that I was a little bit suspicious of. And once again, it has that same suspicious note. So I'm going to say it, and I'm sorry to the distilling company or anybody else, but it literally smells like vomit. It has some maltiness, kind of that stomach acidy vomit smell. Once you get past that and get into it a little bit, there's some fruit and some vanilla, but that malty vomit is just up front, and that is not the way to go. I'm guessing with more time in the barrel that note would dissipate and disappear, but and as it sits here and rolls around, that note kind of disappears and gets buried a little bit, but it's there, and it's not pleasant at all. Just on the nose, it's one of those things where you're like, I'm not drinking that. But I will say my first experience when I drank it, it was a more pleasant drinking experience than the nose. But they got their work cut out for them. if that's what they're trying to do. Now, maybe they're trying to do something with a mixer or something like that. I can see it mixing up fairly well, but a neat pour. This is rough, so hopefully they get that figured out. All right, on the taste. On the taste, it's hot, caramel and honey, a graininess, like a grain bin graininess to it. The malt part of it kind of subsides, like you don't really get too much malt in there. And the characteristics of the malt that comes through for sweetness kind of dissipate as well, and you pick up with some ethanol at the end. It's kind of a short profile. On the second nosing, that vomit smell definitely dissipates, and you get more malt in the glass. A little bit citrus in there, like zest citrus, like lemon zest as a citrus note. Second taste, you get more sweet notes on the second tasting. That vomit doesn't come through at all, thank God, in the palate at all. It's pretty simple. The ethanol's there and kind of burns in the back for an 80 proofer. It just needs a lot more time in the barrel. I would say that this is going to need a good 7 to 10 years in the barrel. Now, here in Wyoming, because our weather's so hot and dry, I'm guessing it probably takes less time than that. But I would go no less than 5 years on this single malt, and I would like to see where it's at that point. However, often when you get those funky notes in a whiskey, more time in the barrel is not going to correct that. That is going to be something that has to be corrected by where you make your cuts and kind of your whole process. Potentially something went awry during the process and it came out. It's a gamble, right? So you invested all this money in making a run. If it's a good enough sized run to create, like, say, to fill a normal barrel at 55 gallons, if you're only running like if you're doing all grain with no sugar, you're going to be running in that 7 to 8% on the high end of production. So, whatever 7 or 8% is, in order to get 55 gallons, you're going to have to run. I can't do the math off the top of my head, but 1,000 gallons to get that 55 gallons. So, it's difficult, to say the least, when you're small and you're getting started to get everything just right. For all I know, this might have been, this was the very first batch that they ran. So, maybe they didn't have it quite dialed in yet. I don't know. I would love to see. I don't know if they have more bottlings or, if this was just recently released, or if this has been sitting around in a warehouse or a shelf for quite a while, and there's newer stuff that a newer release that is better. I don't know, but it was a fair bit disappointing to me. But it has potential, right? And I would love to go down and check out the distillery and see what they're doing. Like I said, the bourbon is excellent. They had a straight rye. They had a bunch of other stuff. I haven't had a chance to try it, but I'm guessing, it has the same labeling and stuff as the bourbon, so I would guess that it's at least of equal quality and standard. This has a completely different label, paper label and whatever else. So maybe they're just experimenting with this. I don't know. I don't know what the story is, but that nose is just disappointing and unpleasant. But with a little bit of time in an open glass here, it is getting a little bit better. And once again, the flavor, the actual taste of it is like, it's separate from the nose, thankfully. The flavor is just young Scotch, right? So young single malt is really all I get. You get a little bit of pepper bite on there, which I'm guessing is going to actually come through with the new oak and some tannin. sorry, not tan, ethanol. Those two are coming together to kind of create that bite. But you know, the drinking experience is actually really nice. It's just the nose that is rough. So, as I said, $27.99 here in Wyoming. Again, small distillery. I doubt you're going to be able to find this outside of Wyoming, but if you can, drop it in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what you can get it for in your area, or if you have an experience with this, love to hear what your take is on it. Maybe I'm wrong and it's way better than I think, or if you have any of the background information on it, I'd love to hear the backstory on it, because there might be something going on there that I don't know about. But anyways, anything else you got, drop in the comments down below. Thanks for watching as always. Have yourselves a great day, and we'll catch you in the next video.